sequence now.
Is it still working good?
Yeah, let me put it over here more in the middle. In Revelation chapter 12, it talks about a woman that was about ready to have birth to a male child, and she's in pain, ready to give birth, and there are people who are false prophesying about that woman is Mary and that Jesus is about to be born. But that's in Revelation chapter 12, and we find out that Jesus has already been slain from the foundation of the earth, that he's already gone back up into heaven and has appeared before the throne as a lamb with 7 eyes, 7 horns, and that's Jesus there. So this woman in Revelation chapter 12 is the nation Israel that gives birth to the man-child, which is the 144,000 that is in Revelation chapter, is it 15? The 144,000, the man-child that are given praise to the Lord. Another place it says, don't do anything. He told one of the angels, don't do anything until the 144,000 are sealed. Okay, they're sealed in an earlier chapter than chapter 12. And then in chapter 12, the man-child that is to rule all nations was caught up into heaven. And then they're rejoicing in heaven in chapter 15. So, here's the point that I'm making. I'm saying, let's just think of this woman here as being Israel, getting ready to give birth to the man-child, which is those 144,000. The book of Revelation is written in sequence. Chapter 1 occurred before chapter 2. Chapter 2 occurs before chapter 3, and so on, all the way through to chapter 22. Again, the woman that's given birth to a man-child is not the church giving birth to Jesus or to the manifest sons of God or some other group of 144,000 like the Jehovah's Witnesses teach. The 144,000 is the man-child, and if you keep that straight, well, we're okay. Where's my source? Where am I getting all this information? It made sense to me when I was 17 years old to start reading the Bible as being more influential. I wanted it to influence my life more than a magazine that I was reading at the time was called Psychology Today. And I was reading another magazine. In fact, I subscribed to it. It's called Scientific American. And I wanted the Bible, I wanted God himself to instruct me more than, to influence me more than anything else on earth. So that's where I'm getting this information from. It just made sense to me from the very beginning that God is writing something in plain language to us. He causes us to learn a language, and then do you think that he wants to speak to us in another language after he created us and gave us the ability to speak in a certain way? You think he wants to talk to us in code form when he loves us like a child, like a mother and a father to a child, how much we love that child? I was hiking with my grandson the other day. He's 13 now, and he was asking me some very thought-provoking questions that I had to take time to explain to him, and I used great detail to explain to him to answer the questions he was asking, because I didn't want to talk to him in a code form and where he would be so confused that he wouldn't understand. But I talked to him in plain language. Well, the Bible is in really plain language. It really happened that the Jewish people fought all those wars and took over that land, and that they were under oppression by the Egyptians and the Assyrians and the Babylonians and under the Romans. This is all really true. It really did happen that way. Now, the reason we know that is because everything, all the archaeological evidence in the Old Testament points to that these cities really were there. All early literature and late literature, it all points to these things that they really happened. There's nothing that contradicts them. You could say, well, what about Noah and the flood? Well, you disprove it. You prove that that didn't happen, and I'll be happy. If you can show me the evidence that it didn't happen. There's more evidence that it happened than that it didn't happen. Okay? Got that. So, I want to go ahead and give Jesus his place, his rightful place of honor. And by the physical evidence on the earth, the archaeological evidence, the writings, all the writings, the 5,000 manuscripts that have been written about him and how they all agree. Well, not all the words are all the same. Well, that's true. There's a "the" over here and an "and" over there that may be placed in a different place than what you would like it to be, but it still says the same thing. That God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever would believe in him would not perish but have everlasting life. So that's the way it is. I need some purple over here somewhere.